detail, all the planning that goes into this, but he omitted two names. His own, I don't know what I'd do without Angelo. He is absolutely the best. The other name, forever our leader, Hallelujah. Their work and hard dedication is just off the charts. I have to take a second to be media chairman and thank all the folks at WNBC who'll bring us the parade on Monday, Michael Jackett's president, and two people from our production company, IMG, Karen Damasi and Gary Critchlow, have been doing this parade with me for, a dozen years. I don't know what we do without them. God bless them. Tonight is an evening of pride. It's a celebration of our culture, our heritage, and the values our forefathers gave us. Hard work, dedication. Tonight we celebrate a journey that's, about 100 years old, when tens of thousands of immigrants came here for a better life. They came here with little more than the clothes on their back, no education, not speaking the language. They took the most menial tasks and put up with degradation that we can't conceive of. But they spawned a generation, our parents. Tom Brokaw called that generation the greatest generation. They were tempered by 2 world wars and a depression, and they were tough. But they raised us, and we are the blessed generation. We sit here tonight in this beautiful building, and we have to go back and trace it back. The great Italian-American story. One generation lifts the other generation, lifts the next generation. And I'm also so proud to stand before you as president of Columbus Foundation. Our foundation fights discrimination. We fight stereotyping like many others do. But the best way to fight stereotyping, Jersey Shore, Sopranos, Growing Up Gotti, and all that crap that's on TV, the best way to fight that stereotyping is to make our children successful. And to be successful, they need an education. And I'm so proud that the Columbus Citizens Foundation will support 650 students of Italian-American descent who have the means to get a first-class education, the capability, but not the means to do so. We will spend almost $2 million this year educating those children, and that's how we fight stereotyping. I'm also so proud of our former president, Louis Tallerini, Margaret Cuomo, and Matilda Cuomo, who have been fighting the College Board, who decided, in their infinite wisdom, to suspend Italian as an offering in the Advanced Placement Program. Working very closely with the country of Italy, the Columbus Foundation, Italy, NIAF, etc., is now at the verge of signing a contract with the College Board, which will bring the Italian language and the Italian culture back into high schools. That was a commitment of the Columbus Foundation. That was a commitment of $500,000 for the Advanced Placement Program this year alone. And another $250,000 for the earthquake relief in L'Aquila for our brothers and sisters who suffered that terrible tragedy. That's the Columbus Foundation. And that journey from those immigrants 100 years ago brought us 3 incredible people that we're honoring tonight. Major players in the financial service industry. Our own Maria Bartiromo. You can read all the facts about Maria in the journal. It's all there, all the history and the biography. But I will tell you, no matter where she goes, no matter what she does, no matter how much she accomplishes, she's still Phil and Josephine's little girl. She She has donated so much time and effort to this foundation, and I will tell you, there's no finer role model, man or woman, on the face of this earth that validates that journey that those immigrants took. I'd also like to congratulate Frank Misignano and Jason DeSena-Trennett. I can't believe that Maria, Frank, and Jason thank us for this honor. They thank us when they've done so much and raised so much and made this another record-breaking year for the Columbus Foundation. Now, as president of the foundation, I have the opportunity to speak to over 1,000 scholarship winners over the past several years. And I talked to them about two main issues that defines this foundation. The first is genetics. When you go to a doctor, they ask you how you're feeling, what your family history is, high blood pressure, other diseases, because it's important. The genetics that we have, the Italian gene, this is the country that brought more to this world than any other country of its size anyone can imagine. When I travel to Rome and I stand before the Colosseum and I see a stadium the size of Yankee Stadium that was wrapped in Carrara marble, that had priceless works of art around it, that lasted 400 years as an arena when we throw our arenas away in 30 or 40 years. How magnificent was that? The stone for that edifice was quarried in Tivoli, 30 miles away. They had to dig a canal 30 miles to float and barge that marble to the Colosseum 2,000 years ago. And you see the aqueducts in Rome that brought water 350 miles from the Pyrenees Mountains into Rome. Who could have done that? The genius of a Michelangelo. You go to the Accademia in Florence, and you can imagine the block of marble that he envisioned that became the David. And then you go to St. Peter's, and you see the Pietà. You see Mary holding Christ, and carved out of that marble, and his vision. And you look at the Sistine Chapel. Michelangelo had never done a ceiling, and never done a fresco prior to that. The Pope forced him to do that. And he created what is arguably the most important work of art in our history. What genius these people had. And that's our genetics. And you combine that with the genes of our grandparents that fought the fight so that we could sit in this beautiful building today. And they're hard, tough people. And that's what we tell the kids. Then I ask the kids, why do you think, well, what would you do with 25,000, 50,000, 500,000? Those are the amounts that we raise in our Adopt a Scholar program. What would you do with that? Would you buy a car? Would you go on vacation? Our members and friends of the foundation choose to give it to these students, total strangers to them. And the reason they do it is because they have an obligation to those who brought us here to get our next generation going in the right direction. That's what it's all about. That's the genetics, and that's the linkage. Last year, we had an incredible honor, Grand Marshal Ken Langone. When I went up to Ken's office the first time and met him, I was so impressed. He had so much information about his family, his heritage, and his upbringing. But the proudest thing he had in his office was a picture of his grandparents. And what he was proudest of was the hands his grandfather had, because they were gnarled. They were gnarled from working 12 hours, 14 hours a day in the sand pits at Port Washington to build New York City, the Phil that came to New York City, that immigrant hard work. And that hard work led to his father being a plumber, led to him who was given hundreds of millions of dollars to keep society to do the right thing. And that's what we're proud of, that work ethic. And Peter Pace, the first Marine ever to become chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I was speaking to Peter. We related a story of going back to his grandparents' village in Noci, Italy. And an elderly uncle said to him, your life and your success is the vindication of the work of your grandparents and their sufferings. Your life is the vindication and the redemption of the suffering of your grandchildren, your grandparents, and the work that they did. amazing is that? Everything that we have today, we can trace back to them. And if you believe in a hereafter, I'd ask you to look up to the rafters here, because that double balcony is not empty. It's our grandparents, our aunts and uncles looking down on us with tremendous pride, saying, wow, look what we done. We did it right. God bless every one of you.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.